unexpected iPhone sales in China. I'm going to go to Lou Basenese. He is with Disruptive Tech Research. And Lou, we bring you on because you've been bullish on Apple. You've stayed bullish on Apple. Where are you right now with respect to Apple? Do you still see a real honest-to-goodness value proposition that makes this a worthwhile investment?
I absolutely do long term. I'm with Buffett and Tim Cook. He said last night he thinks shares are undervalued here. I think on Monday I shared with you that the opportunity for a possible disappointment on the holiday quarter, and if it brought shares below 140, I thought that was the next big back up the truck buying moment. So we're within $3 of that, not there yet. But I do believe, even with that bullishness, there's bearishness for Tim Cook. I mean, he made a ton of excuses, and as a result, today everyone wants to write Apple's obituary. I think that's a bit premature, but he needs to step up and lead. I think this moment is going to be the defining moment of his legacy, what he does from here on out with Apple and how he comes around this just maturing smartphone market and just realizing and coming to grips with the fact that there's no killer feature left anymore that anyone can innovate in the smartphone space.
Certainly
so
there's not a distinction that will make me want to pay $1,000 for a phone when it's not that much better than other phones out there that are substantially less expensive. Before, Lou, I'm glad you mentioned Tim Cook. I've got a headline for you. Stocks fall after LVMH, that's Louis Vuitton, warns of softening demand in China. This report goes back to October. I've got one that goes back to July. Same thing. How could Tim Cook say he was caught off guard by weakness in China and the Chinese consumer when Louis Vuitton, which also sells luxury items there, and other companies, by the way, saw this as early as July of last year?
Look, I think there was a complacency embedded in Apple that they were a luxury brand that was recession resistant, and they were historically. But now that's just not the case. Like you said, there's no distinction, no differentiation that will make you pay $1,000 or more for a smartphone. So he's coming to grips with reality, and I think there's a bit of spin going on here. I mean, trying to blame it on the trade war is, I'm sorry, it's absurd. The iPhone weakness, this was a product failure. The iPhone weakness persisted outside of China as well. They just underestimated the demand the weak demand that they would have for these new devices.
They've underestimated in my house, and we bought every iPhone, everyone but me, of course. I won't get into that story again. But Lou, so what do they do? How do they turn this around? Because they're sitting on $130 billion in cash. And I think they should put it to work other than just buying back their stock. I think IBM did that for a few years, and all they did was get stock that was underwater. In fact, Apple lost $9 billion on their own buys last year. Should they take some sort of really aggressive action? Because Tim Cook seems really okay, like he's chilling right now. He feels like he's still in a pretty good position.
Yeah, he should Netflix and chill, honestly. I think he should look to make a big game-changing acquisition that changes the narrative. And in that respect, you have to do something that fits strategically with Apple. They are transitioning from a hardware-only company to really a services company, and Netflix has been rumored as a perennial potential target for them. Makes much more sense than Disney because Netflix is pure streaming and services. I'd also look maybe to the payment space. You know, Apple Pay is growing at a healthy clip, but could really expand and accelerate if they took out someone like PayPal or Square in that space. So yeah, sitting back and resting on his laurels and $130 billion in net cash is not going to change the stock trajectory at this point.
Yeah,
I think he does need to do something.
IBM eventually did make an acquisition of Red Hat. They paid $10 billion more than they would have if they'd have done it a long time ago. The clock is ticking. Lou, I appreciate you coming on. You've been bullish on this stock. It's come down. You did say to buy it on weakness last time. Would you be buying right now? We're $3 off your buy entry point.
I'm waiting. In this market with so much volatility, I think if I'm a little bit more patient, I get that $3.
All right, Lou, we'll have you back on. We'll have you back on real soon. We'll still have Keith and Scott with me. Guys, I'll ask you the same thing. You know, a lot of stocks.